Hey everybody, this is John and welcome to the free video. And not a lot of excitement today. One, we did a small earnings play on VRX, essentially just kind of making a bet that would have a bigger than expected move and very small trade. The calls that we bought at 83 cents expired worthless. The puts that we bought, are up at $1.50, but they expire in 10 days. So I want to see if Valiant will just actually keep on selling off. So pretty low risk trade overall on that one. And then one trade that I really like here, if this is one that you want to get into, I still think there's plenty of time. Here's a daily chart at EOG. The energy sector was on fire today, and here we have a squeeze with what's called an early warning signal, saying that it is about to trigger, and we can of course see that with the Bollinger Bands getting closer to the Keltner channels, and the normalized spread is at 0. This means there's actually a lot of room to move. So even though on the 78-minute chart, this thing looks like, oh my god, this thing is already run, I actually didn't even get in this thing until it crossed the fire line. So on this, we picked up some of the in-the-money calls that expire next week at 317. Now, I'm not expecting a huge move out of this. We're actually looking for a move up to about 87.50. So we've got orders to sell those options if the stock should get to 87.50, and some orders to buy back the put spread at 80% of max profit. Both of those grid till cancel should we get to 87.50. So I think the key with something like this is that we're positioning size it in such a way that we don't have huge positions, so we don't need to have really tight stops. We can actually kind of give it some room here, but the idea that if it does slam into our levels, we want to get out. We're not looking for some huge thing that's going to take off here. It's just kind of a high probability, low hanging fruit trade, and that is what we want to dive into. Now from here, I think the biggest thing that we want to look at in terms of the markets is the spiders. So the big question here is we've had a really great move. The squeeze here has been very strong to the upside, okay? We had a nice little 78-minute squeeze here. That triggered today. And then today we got a little bit of weakness into the close. And then the question now is there something changing in the market, or is that just kind of a, oh, okay, look, this market pulls back every day and then it rallies, nothing to fret about. Let's dive into that. So what you'll notice here is that if you're looking at the changes in open interest, you can see that there's a lot of contracts coming off the table on the call side. Okay, that's a big deal. I'll talk about in a second. But at the same time, if we go over here to the put side, we can see that open interest is exploding. Okay, and whenever you see a stock kind of potentially nearing an end of the move, if you see open interest on the call side disappearing, okay, essentially meaning that longs are getting out of that trade in a big way, and open interest in the puts expanding, in this case almost in some cases exponentially doubling in a day, it's a big red flag that the market's about to roll over in a big way, at least in the short term. Okay, and this is kind of one of my favorite signals to look at when you see that fast change in open interest, whether it's the spiders or Priceline. Anytime you see a stock like rallying like that and that change of control takes place, it's essentially look for a big reversal. So you can see here as Apple, the open interest is increasing on Apple. You can see that it's continuing to enjoy its uptrend. That means, hey, it's okay to stick with this one. But on the other hand, the other day we started taking profits on Facebook, and a couple of people were asking, well, why are you doing that? It looks like it's about to break out. But we saw that open interest on the call side was coming off at a fairly alarming rate, and that was a signal to get out. And you can see today, boom, this stock is rolled over. So anyway, at the end of the day, that kind of stuff is a big red flag and something to pay attention to. Another trade that we did here was in Win, and if you guys have listened to me for any length of time, you'll know that I'm a big fan of taking trades that are in alignment. So in this case, this was a trade on a 5-minute chart, but we wanted to make sure that it was in alignment with the 15-minute chart, the 30-minute chart, the 1-hour chart, and the 2-hour chart. And if you're sitting there and you're staring at these screens, it's very mind-numbing to understand, like, okay, all these are coming together at this exact moment in time, and this is the time when you want to get on. Because if you've got every chart in alignment, that's when you get those rocket moves, that's when you get those explosive moves to the upside or the downside. If they're all in alignment to the upside, you just pop higher because there's essentially there's no force going against it. You know, if sometimes this chart's going up, but this chart's pulling back, and, you know, this chart's going sideways, you kind of get blah. But when they all hit a moment in time where they're in alignment, that's when you get those little explosions like that. So if you can spot it here on looking at all these 5 time frames, you know, that's great, but here's an easier way. So you can use this nifty tool where essentially it'll take all of those time frames that we're all looking at, it just monitors them. I know I can talk. It monitors them right below the price. So in this case, if you're trading charts, the 5-minute chart, it's going to say, all right, great, I'm going to look at the 15, 30, 1 hour, and 2 hour charts. And if they're all in alignment, we're going to have green dots across the board, and I'll just put a green dot up here. If they're not in alignment, okay, if like one is green and one is red, then there's going to be nothing. So essentially, if you're on a 5-minute chart and you see a green dot up here, it's telling you that all 5 time frames are in alignment and to look for this sucker to take off, okay? And of course, the opposite is also true. Here's a 5-minute chart of Goldman Sachs, okay? Now right here, there's nothing going on, so that's kind of neutral. But you can see, okay, the 5-minute chart is red, and now you can see that other time frames are starting to roll over. And then when they all roll over and you get the red dot right here, it's telling you like, wow, every time frame that you're looking at is now issuing a sell signal. And when every time frame is issuing the signal at the exact same time, boom, you get a big move. And you can do it on whatever time frame you like to trade. I mean, this was Priceline, 30-minute chart, referencing then a 1 hour chart, 2 hour chart, 4 hours, and a daily. And you can see here, gosh, when all these got in alignment, this sucker just took off and didn't look back. So these indicators are actually available at this upcoming class we're doing on Saturday. This class, we're going to have a Saturday class, a $497 class that's going to include the open interest indicator that we saw, and then the $997 class, actually, which includes 3 days of live trading, includes the multiple time frame analysis indicator, plus an additional indicator that shows swing highs and swing lows within a 21 bar period. So it's great for kind of timing reversals as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun. There will be more information coming out on this, but if you are interested in this and in grabbing a seat, the Saturday class is going to be 6 hours. It's going to be myself and Chris both going through. I'm going to be teaching all the strategies that I use around open interest, around change in volume as a percent of open interest, in that multiple time frame indicator, as well as the reversal indicator. And then Chris is going to be focusing on a strategy where it's like, look, if you've got 100 stocks that you're watching, how do you know which one to trade today? Okay, which is great. And so this is going to be a fun combination. If you guys have done these before, but for that Saturday class, 6 hours, $497. If you want to see us trade live, 3 days of live online training and trading, or we'll be trading our live accounts, it's $997. That actually includes the Saturday class, and it includes all 4 indicators that I was talking about. And I think there might just be 1 or 2 seats left on our live event. We've got a live event coming in Austin, June 26th to 28th. If you are interested in that, that is an elite event, but that does include everything here. Anyway, this is going to be awesome. If you go to simplertrading.com/masters, very much looking forward to sharing this information with you guys. It's kind of an amazing way just to see the footprints of the market and getting in front of the hedge funds before they take action. You guys have a good night, and we'll see you at the next update.